Hey, DJ, it's time for another great episode of The Men Who Watch Movies. We saw Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania. It was amazing. I like his superpower, man. I wish I could shrink like that.
Too bad. I can only do that in the pool.
Ew.
We're the men who watch movies.
All right, so Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. What did you think of it?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, the special effects were terrific. CGI was terrific. The CGI helmet for King is awesome. Jonathan Majors is awesome. I don't know what the critics are complaining about. It's a terrific movie.
Let's talk about that. There's been a shit ton of criticism, especially on Twitter, which is, like I mentioned before, it's the butthole of the internet. Even before Elon Musk, it's always been a garbage shoot. A lot of people are saying that Kang, it didn't live up to expectations. Not to give away any spoilers or anything. That's all I'm going to say.
No spoilers.
They're complaining about the CGI. They're complaining about...
CGI was fantastic.
There's a lot of complaints about it. I did not see the criticism. I thought it was one of the better Marvel movies in a long time. They did a great job of balancing comedy with action and still maintaining the sense of weight. Like, it felt really important to the upcoming saga that they have going on. They didn't really cop out on it. I was really disappointed in the last Thor movie because I felt like it didn't really have any sense of weight to it. Like, well,
there was less comedy, so
yeah, and I don't mind that. Like, other people don't like it. They didn't like Thor Ragnarok because of it, which I thought it's one of the greatest Thor movies, or one of the greatest MCU movies, in fact. I didn't mind the humor, but I felt like he went too far with it in Thor: Love and Thunder, and it was just too much. It was too cringy. And I thought, I was worried about Ant-Man being the same because he's typically more of a comedic character, right? Like, they treat him as more of like a comedy relief most of the time.
Garrett Morrison had a very, very small cameo in the first one. Let's not forget, in 1978, he was on an SNL sketch called The Superhero Party, and he had the original Ant-Man costume on, and he looked fantastic!
Random.
That's true. I remember. Yeah, we watched that clip. That was pretty funny. But yeah, not to get too off topic here. I definitely think Ant-Man is normally more of like a comedic character, just because he's silly name and his abilities and whatnot. A superhero that's like the small, typically not very imposing, but I feel like this movie was really, it was pretty dramatic and pretty...
very, very dramatic, very, very
serious.
Different. The quintessential of the movie was so different. You got Bill Murray in the movie. You got a little cameo.
That's right. I totally forgot.
It is.
I almost forgot he was in this movie. And then, when he popped up in there, I'm like, oh, shit, that's right. Bill Murray's in this movie. People complained about his role as well. I don't know. I'm just wanting to look at the positives here because I feel like it definitely doesn't deserve the flack that it got. I think it was like a fun action adventure movie, which I haven't really gotten a good fun action adventure movie like this in a while. Definitely heavy on the what do you call it? Wizard of Oz influence. Would you say? I feel like it had a huge Wizard of Oz
very much
vibe. I mean, definitely, even from the first trailer, of course, they used Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Just the overall kind of story, have these people going into this magical land, which, instead of Oz, we have the what do they call it? The quantum realm.
The quantum realm.
Which in the comic books, it was the microverse, but I think quantum realm sounds better.
A lot better.
When I think microverse, I think micro machines. Remember those things? Remember the micro machines? Like the little tiny cars
Vaguely,
about this big?
And
Those
They're
were
very,
fun.
very familiar.
They brought him back. Anyway, not to get too off topic here. But yeah, anyway, they go to the quantum realm and then they meet a bunch of crazy characters and fantastical, things throughout their adventure. And they have to stop this evil threat. Definitely very Wizard of Oz-esque. But I thought they also took a lot of inspiration from other stories. Like it had a lot of Dune vibe. Let's see, what did you think about like the cast of characters that we saw throughout the movie? Of course,
awesome.
Coming back, we have Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, and then in this movie they introduced Catherine Newton playing Cassie Lang. Of course, different actress than we saw in Endgame. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't bring back the actress from Endgame, but they probably wanted someone that had a little bit more of like an edge to them, because in this movie, I don't want to spoil anything, but she takes after her dad in many ways, and she gets into a little bit of trouble. Nothing bad. I mean, she's more she's on the good side of things. She's not like she's evil or anything, but she's like an activist, and kind of gotten into the fray of things. She'll find herself on the wrong side of the law, but not for a bad reason. But not unlike her dad, she gets into trouble, much to Scott's chagrin. She was trying to stop the destruction of a homeless encampment from people that got displaced by the blip, which is also what Aunt May was doing in Spider-Man No Way Home. Of course, we have Evangeline Lilly returning as Hope Van Dyne, and of course, the great Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, Michelle Pfeiffer
himself.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne. We get to see a lot of the aftermath of the time that she spent in the quantum realm. They really handled that well. I think this whole movie is great. It's standalone. I feel like it could be a standalone movie. They do a good job of explaining the stuff that happened in the past movies, and all like the stuff that interconnects with it. But I feel like you could just come in and watch this, and that's not very common for a lot of movies. There might be a little bit of confusion going in if you would just watch this as a standalone movie. But a lot of the Marvel stuff nowadays, you have to kind of at least have seen a few of the other things to get what's going on. But I feel like this is very, very contained. You have a satisfying ending. I don't want to say what that is or anything like that, but I feel like you had a very satisfying ending. But it does leave open, possibilities for the future. But if you were to just watch this by itself, it does have a satisfying ending. But for people that have seen the other movies, it does have a very good cyclical effect. It ties in very well, which is something I thought they failed to do with the Iron Man trilogy. They really tried to bring it full circle, and for me, it fell flat. But I feel like with the Ant-Man trilogy, it was they tied it in from beginning to end very well, and everything seemed like it had a purpose. It didn't seem like they missed.
Everything in the movie had a purpose. It was Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3,
I felt
Spider-Man Homecoming.
I felt like with the Iron Man series, though, I felt like they tried bringing it full circle. But it didn't really work for me. But like I said, the Ant-Man movies, I felt like they didn't really miss a detail. Like everything tied in perfectly back into itself. We see some characters, from the first Ant-Man movie make an appearance. I don't want to say who, but they come back. We see, we see things that were planted in the original Ant-Man movie, come to fruition in this movie, and everything just feels like it was planned out to a T. And I know Marvel, typically they usually like to plan out their things, but not everything aligns so perfectly. And I feel like the Ant-Man trilogy was just like from the first to the last one, I feel like it felt like they had a very strong intentions to do what they did. What did you think about the CGI? A lot of people are complaining about the CGI. Like
good.
always,
It was awesome. They
thought it was
the
okay.
CGI
It was
for MODOK. It was excellent, terrific.
Yeah.
The actor who played MODOK is awesome.
Let's not say who. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But MODOK, there's been a lot of complaints about him online. I thought it was great. A lot of people are saying he looks like George Lopez and Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And I think that's fine with me. Of course, the CGI in this movie is way better than anything from the Spy Kids or Shark Boy, Robert Rodriguez, kid cinematic universe, whatever you want to call it. Definitely, obviously, it's way better. CGI quality. But they're saying like the aesthetic was very similar. And, I mean, there's no good way of doing MODOK. He's goofy. He's a weird looking character,
He's
and
been
I thought
goofy since the comic book since 1994.
Although I wish they did make his face more gnarly, but I think it was important that we see who he is and kind of have that actor shine through. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think he looked
about that.
Yeah, I think he looked great though. It was funny.
If you watch the first one and the second one,
yeah,
you might get a feeling of the two movies. But if you watch 1 and 2, then of course watch the third one, then of course you'll be up to date.
Yeah. I mean, I think for how goofy he looks, I mean, of course they're going to play him as a bit of a comic relief, but I feel like he did have a sense of, danger to him, because that's what he's designed to do. He's designed to kill. And it was funny seeing his arc. He didn't have that huge of a role. But he did have an importance to him. Let's just say that. And he definitely had an arc throughout the film. I had no reason to complain about that. I loved everything with MODOK in it. And of course, we have some other new characters in here. We got Bill Murray. What did you think about Bill Murray?
Oh, he was funny, as Lord Krylock. Very, very funny.
Yeah, Lord Krylar.
Lord Krylaw. Lord Krylar.
Yeah, he's kind of an obscure character. He's actually a character from the comics. A lot of people are saying that they wish Bill Murray was in it more. I'm not going to say, what that
But he had a very small cameo, so that's good enough.
Yeah, I felt like he didn't need to have like this huge, like important role in the movie. I mean, not to say his role is important. It actually ties in very much to the goings on in the in the quantum realm, and there's a little bit of a connection with Janet and the time that she spent in the quantum realm, and
there's a connection to King.
Yeah,
well, a little bit.
Let's just say he's a bit of a scoundrel. He reminds me of a character from a certain Star Wars movie. I'm not going to say which because that might give away some of what happens, but definitely reminds me of a Star Wars character. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I liked his moment in the movie. I think it was just fine. The one I feel like they did dirty was William Jackson Harper. They definitely did not utilize him in the movie enough. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. That's
yeah, he played. I believe his name was Quaz. He had like the telepathy
powers.
That
was him. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah. I've seen him in The Good Place. He was great. Great actor. I definitely wish that he would have utilized him more. I hope we see his character come back in future installments.
I hope maybe in the King Dynasty. I guess
maybe. We'll see what happens with that. Who knows? A lot of people were speculating that he might have been Reed Richards, who got stuck in the quantum realm. I was hoping they would go with that angle. That would have been amazing. He would have been perfect for Reed Richards, but alas, that's not what we got. And, it's unfortunate. We haven't heard anything about any casting about the Fantastic Four. I'm hoping that they tie them in soon. Same thing with the X-Men. Waiting and Emily Blunt. Waiting. I wouldn't mind if they switched him out, but that's just my opinion. What were some other characters that you really enjoyed in this movie?
Lib.
Was that the goo guy?
Yeah, the one that said I have holes.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy creatures
David
and characters.
D.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one side character not character. But that's the one, actor
of the 3 wombats
that they brought back. Yeah, from the wombats.
Yes.
I was hoping they brought back Michael Pena, but unfortunately, they didn't bring him back. But they did bring back David. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so we'll just call him David D.
Yes.
I don't want to mess it up, but he was the one who played Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad movie.
He did play Polka Dot Man.
And they brought him back to do the voice of that character who had no holes. I think that was a fun character. I love the wacky creatures and the world building that they did in this movie. But like I said, definitely a solid movie. It had the weight to it. It had the, it had the gravitas.
Yep, it had the gravitas.
Now let's talk
reaction.
Definitely.
Very good.
Let's talk Jonathan Majors, man.
Yep.
I thought a lot of people are saying that that Kang wasn't as foreboding as they had hoped so.
But he was evil.
Definitely. I thought the performance was great.
Full of hate.
The one thing I didn't, I don't know if I just missed something. The one thing I didn't get a strong connection to was his motivation of what he's doing, what he's doing, or why he's doing what he's doing. Like for Thanos, they did such a good job with Thanos' motivation. You could almost agree with the guy, but I haven't quite got that same feel about Kang's motivation. That's the only thing that was kind of lacking, but the performance was strong. I feel like we're definitely we're going to see more of what his plan is in the future, hopefully. So, maybe it'll start to unravel, what his true intentions are of what he's doing. Who knows? We definitely have some more movies coming up that's going to deal with that issue. We have the Kang Dynasty and whatnot.
And of course, next time on our next podcast, we're going to talk about Cocaine Bear.
That's true. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but yes.
That's okay.
Yes, that is coming out this week, this Friday.
Directed by Elizabeth Banks, and last appearance by the great late Ray Liotta, the great thespian himself. We will miss you, good sir.
So overall, what would you say you would rate Antman and the Wasp: Quantumania?
I would rate it 10 out of 10.
Really? You rate a lot of movies 10 out of 10,
yeah.
But I would say I would rate it a solid 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, it really tied up the Ant-Man trilogy very nicely. It left some future seeds for the other movies in the the multiverse saga. But as a movie in and of itself, it had a satisfying ending. A lot of people were disappointed with that ending and what happened. Like I said, I'm not going to get into spoilers with it. Or should we? Should we talk a little bit about spoilers?
Maybe just a little bit.
All right, I'm going to put a spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. His identity is none other than reprisal actor Corey Stoll playing Darren Cross.
Darren Cross. That's one thing I thought they did excellent. Like, of course, Darren Cross. He became Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket in the first one, then of course
in the first one he was evil, and
the second one we didn't know where he was. He was disappearing somewhere.
The last we saw him, he was attacking Cassie as a child in her bedroom, which he references in this movie. Like I said, they do a good job of talking about the events of the past movies. So in case if you hadn't seen them, you can they clue you in. The last we saw, he was sucked into the quantum realm. Bit by bit, his arms and legs are being crushed, and he got. You assume that he died because of how violent it looked, but it was so perfect because he ended up in the quantum realm alive but deformed, and it makes sense of why he has a giant head and his little arms and legs. And the transition to MODOK was seamless. Like
very, very good.
It totally makes sense because you could watch that scene from the first Ant-Man movie and him getting sucked in the quantum realm
flashbacks
very violently, and you could say, you could see I could see how he would have gotten deformed into what we see as MODOK in the movie. So such a perfect transition. A great reveal. Definitely not from the comics. MODOK was someone else entirely, but it made so much sense.
Charlington.
It made so much sense to tie it up. It's cyclical. It rhymes like poetry. Let's talk about Kang and the ending a little bit before we wrap up our podcast.
Kang,
a lot of the discourse about this movie is that
fantastic actor.
Yes,
the actor who plays Kang is none other than Jonathan Majors.
Of course,
and gentlemen.
But a lot of the discourse about this movie is that Kang. He lost in this movie. Let's just say that. A lot of people were speculating Ant-Man was going to die. That did not happen. I thought it was going to happen for a second. There's a scene at the end where basically the story is that they have to keep Kang from exiting the quantum realm, or else he's going to destroy the entire multiverse, slaughter, billions of people across the multiverse. And Janet, when she got trapped in the cosmic, what does he call it?
Quantumania.
In the quantum realm. When Janet got trapped in the quantum realm, she had met him, and she had helped him out. He just said he was like a traveler who got stuck in there, and she tried to help him rebuild his ship. And it turns out, being in the quantum realm, remember how she got like some kind of powers and whatnot. While she was helping him rebuild his ship, she got some like mental flashes of the horrible things that he did. She realized he was a bad guy.
And it turns out the quantum realm is actually Kang's prison that he took control of. So makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So,
it does.
from that moment, she realized he was a bad guy. She tried keeping him out of the larger world and keeping him stuck in the quantum realm. She used like one of those. She used some Pym particles to enlarge his, the reactor in his ship so he couldn't escape, and trapped him in the quantum realm. And she had such PTSD about it, she didn't tell anyone when she escaped the quantum realm. And Cassie, she has a brilliant mind, and she's very
very brilliant mind.
Yeah, she developed some technical skills, and she was able to create like a beacon that would scan the quantum realm without actually having to go there. But unfortunately, in order to scan the quantum realm, it had to send signals down there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that alerted MODOK and Kang of their location, because Kang had been looking for Janet, and they sucked him into the quantum realm and whatnot. So, so basically, I don't know. What do you think about that aspect of the story? I usually don't like when it's like one of our lead characters who's supposed to be a good person. It happens a lot in the MCU where they screw up so bad it causes the whole movie to happen. Like Iron Man creating Ultron or something like that. Like, now it's like Cassie, sending a beacon down and causing this whole, Kang stuff to happen. It's crazy. Or even Janet, helping Kang rebuild his ship. And she didn't know, but it's always I don't like so much when it's the heroes causing the stuff to happen. I don't know, it makes me feel a little icky, but whatever. But anywho, so towards the end of the movie, Kang is just about to escape, and Cassie kind of sends out a signal to, for the people of the quantum realm to revolt, and they revolt, and they destroy Kang's city that he built down there. And there's a point where Kang is about to escape, and they were able to open up like a portal, to the regular world, and everyone got through. But then I think at that point, Scott realized that Kang was going to get out. So he re-entered the quantum realm to fight Kang. And then at that point, I almost thought he was going to die. But he didn't.
He was a hero of the whole movie.
But then Hope went back to help him. And then on top of that, what's his name? Hank Pym. Apparently some ants got sucked down in the quantum realm with them, and they went through a time dilation, and they created some like advanced civilization, and they built their own technology, and they found Hank in the quantum realm, and he used the ant army to help defeat Kang. And I think that's a lot of the discourse about Kang in this movie, is that he got defeated by a bunch of ants.
And I love his quote. He says, "I am king. You talk to ants. You know how many times I put down rebellions? You know how many Avengers I've killed? I am King the Conqueror."
Yes, he is. He got bested by a bunch of ants, and then eventually they shoved a bunch of Pym particles into him, and you see him disappear in a big flash, and you assume in a normal superhero movie you'd assume that he died, but of course he's not dead. But in the movie, he claimed to have killed a bunch of Avengers before, and people are saying, well, there's no way that Kang killed a bunch of Avengers. He's weak. But I feel like, I mean, I like when they're not OP like that. I like when they don't overpower the main villain. I like the fact that he does have a vulnerability. He's not like, I feel like Thanos was way overpowered at some times, but I feel like he has a vulnerability, but he also has the resolve and he has the anger, because he's going to come back. If Darren Cross survived being crushed into the quantum realm, then definitely Kang is going to survive, and he's going to be back even madder than ever. And then of course we see the end credit scene from the comic books. There's a thing called the Council of Kangs, right? It was called the Council of Kangs, or
Council of Kang.
Yeah, Council of Kang. There's a bunch of
Kangs
variants, like thousands of Kang variants, trying to figure out what to do about the whole situation. And what we can only assume that the Kang that supposedly got killed is going to come back, and I don't know. It's just
but which variant is it?
I mean, the variant that they call Kang the Conqueror, I'm assuming he's going to come back. I don't think he's dead, and it's exciting. We're gonna, I want to see him. I want to see that version of Kang come back and live up to the greatness that we've been expecting, because it will happen. People just need to be patient. But I like the the way that he died in this movie, though, because I feel like it could definitely serve as its own satisfying ending. They killed the Wicked Witch at the end. And if someone would watch this movie and only this movie, it definitely has that satisfying ending where they best the villain. But for people who want to continue on, he's going to be back. He's going to be up to no good, trying to get revenge, and I can't wait to see that happen. So, definitely would recommend this movie. Don't listen to the critics.
I give it a 2 thumbs up.
The only critics you should listen to is us. Don't listen to the haters, is what I should say. Well, this has been a great episode. I love talking about this movie.
Next time we're going to talk about Cocaine Bear, so don't worry, movie fans.
Oh, definitely. Maybe you could check us out on Twitter @MenWatchMovies, on Instagram @MenWatchMovies, on Facebook @MenWatchMovies. I tried making this as easy as possible. If you're listening on, any kind of podcast app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on Anchor, you can also watch us on YouTube @MenWatchMovies. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, you can listen to us on those aforementioned apps. You can either, listen to it as an audio podcast, or you can watch it as a video podcast on those apps as well. My name is Alec.
And my name is DJ the Movie Man Wagner, also known as COE, the Chairman of Entertainment. I'm the man who watch movies.
That is correct.
And, we had pleasure talking with you guys today. And we want to remind you all to keep on watching. Thank you, everybody.
I hope this gets a lot of views.
Me too.